he wanted.
We are back here on the box score. Now that the Monday night football games are over, we can put a bow tie on the first week that was the NFL 2015 season. And we can also see who did well in the FanDuel challenge with the Danettes. But before we get to that, McLovin, now let me ask you, Seton, has someone made McLovin delete his second team?
No, the real question that hasn't been asked yet is, are people doing multiple teams this week? We're allowed up to 3 per league rules.
Well, you want to know how I got to that second team? We were setting up this first week, and I had a team. I'm like, well, I'm going to save it right now and then work on it some more. And somehow one of my versions of my team, so it's identical same team, there are only 2 changes. So that honestly, and you guys could see it was a technical error, but it's a technical error that could have helped me enormously.
Well, when we look back, though, through challenges past, say, like March Madness tournaments that maybe you've been in charge of, that there have been technical errors on that benefit you greatly.
I don't control the back end of FanDuel.
Hey.
I don't control the back end of FanDuel.
It seems like technical errors have been a blessing to you almost every time. Rarely do they hinder your success.
Well, I did. It's funny because yesterday.
It's just a glitch.
Yesterday I thought I'd be the big man. You notice I was the big man and I took the team that was in 10th place, not the team that was in 3rd place. Because I secretly knew the team that was in 10th place had Jordan Matthews going, where the other team had Steve Smith Sr., so it worked out in my favor.
This was a flashback. I finished, what did I finish? 496,
let's get to you, Paulie. Let's,
this was a
very back end of it all. You were at 496 out of 500 places. What are you going to do to sort of bring yourself up next week?
Well, almost anything. I mean, almost anything I do will bring me up. I'd be shocked if I was worse.
That would be.
It was a really funny flashback because when I went to high school, I was not a strong student. I actually got along with all my teachers, my students. I did well at school. I didn't do well in the classes I didn't care about. So I was a 2.2 grade point average out of 4 in high school. And I remember in my senior year or sometime junior or senior year, they gave you report cards twice a year, and in your report card it had your grades, then it had where your class rank was. And we had exactly 400 kids in my graduating class. And I was 390 out of 400. And one of my best friends was a kid named Brendan Kelly. Brendan was our valedictorian. He was also a pretty decent football player. He drank beer. He was a bro, but he was also a 4.0 student and just cruised, man. He was very intelligent. I think he went to Penn. Brendan was 1 of 400. I remember he goes, I go, let me see your report card. He goes, it's the same thing. And he was like lightly cocky about it. He'd be like, it's the same thing every time. And it was wow. A. He had no A minuses.
Yeah.
None. And it was perfect. It was A's for 4 years and 1 out of 400 for 4 years. And I showed him mine and I laughed about it because the funny thing was he and I were exactly the same except for our report cards. We drank beer. He played football. I went to the football games. We hung out at each other's houses. And I remember once, and I know it's a long story, but my mother had to go out of town for a week, and it happened to be finals week for our school. Finals, I was the kind of kid who crashed so I could steal a C.
Yeah.
And I remember I spent the week at Brendan's house, and my mom was like, maybe some of what Brendan has will rub off on you. And Brendan didn't study. I was sitting there studying. I know, awful. But I'm sitting there studying for my finals, Brock. And I look, and I go, Brendan, are you going to study for your final? He goes, no, I know it all already.
But it's nice that your mom's relying on some type of magic as opposed to hoping that you're going to be able to figure something out somehow intellectually to get
I read Sports Illustrated in high school, and look how it turned out.
All right. Well, if you're a slight case of dyslexia, you can go from Paulie's 496 to Seton's 469th place out of 500. Now, you had Eddie Lacy. He was your big hitter with 17 points. Good, but not great. Cost you a lot of money at $8,500. You going to keep him on your roster this week?
No, I'm not going to keep Eddie Lacy, but I am planning on going with another big spending wide receiver. Running back from that same game. I'm probably going to take Marshawn Lynch. Ooh. Considering that Green Bay couldn't stop the run against the Bears, why would they be able to do it against the Seahawks?
When he got stopped on that 4th and 1, he's got something to prove. He's pissed off after week 1.
Hashtag analysis. Yeah, I look at that team on paper. What's wrong with that team? I don't know. Eddie Lacy. Your score is not that much different than mine.
Who would think that Andre Johnson wouldn't catch a lot of balls?
Exactly. How do you know that? Right, that he's gonna drop everything thrown his way, or that AJ Green didn't do anything really.
But it's a thin line. It's not like you had 0 points either. You had a decent amount of points, so everybody's clustered real close, I think.
But then it's also, you analyze, it's like if someone had a bad week 1, it's like, okay, then they're due for week 2. Or is this person just bad and they're going to have a string of bad weeks? You can talk yourself out of it.
Fritzy, you did a little bit better than Seton. You hopped all the way up to 123rd out of 500, and you had a Broncos D that came up big big for you with 16 points. Are you going to keep a Bronco on your squad throughout this year, even in the bye weeks?
I'm not sure. I'm still kicking it around. As of this moment, I think I'm going to take a break. The Broncos have a short week. They're playing. They don't play well in Arrowhead. They got a game coming up already Thursday night. A couple of guys got banged up. They had like no offense. So I'm not feeling Denver. I hope somehow they win the game as a Bronco fan. But from a FanDuel perspective, I was happy with Witten and DeMarco Murray getting some late touchdowns. Cam Newton didn't do much for me. My receivers were pretty useless, but 123 out of 500, especially after what Paulie had to deal with, where he finished up. I'll be content with 123rd.
All right, maybe you would be content with first and second place, which I believe McLovin has. And you had some big hitters on your squad: Romo, Julio Jones, and Tyler Eifert, who all got 20+ points. So all those guys stay with you into week 2.
Boom.
Wow, I don't know. The word's out on Tyler Eifert.
Could you buy this team right now?
No,
Won't that team be more expensive?
Eifert jumped up like crazy. Jarvis Landry was way underpriced last week. I think a few of us had him. He went up like crazy. Julio went up too. I mean, Julio's the best.
He was great.
Romo plays the Eagles next week. I think we're all looking at that one. That's an interesting matchup. But
set us up. This is one of your setup lines.
no, but
or is it not a setup
Dude,
line?
you know who I love this week is Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Washington.
Ooh, doesn't Drew Brees?
Well, I gotta warn you guys. Every week
I love Drew Brees.
Every week we do a theme, and the theme may or may not work out. The one we're leaning towards may or may not work out for you guys.
Ooh,
Tune in tomorrow.
Effect.
That's team.
All right, yes. Well, congratulations to McLovin with your victory. And tune in to the box score. Of course, Thursday we will have another FanDuel Draft Day. You can have a whole new squad, another chance to win big.